We need to speak. I need the microphone. Okay. I love it. Okay. Right here. All right, go ahead. Good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to the South Central Workforce Development Board's December 2025 meeting. This is our year in review, and I'll talk more about that in a second, but I will turn it over to Teresa Hayes, who is standing in for our board chair. Travis Shirley, something came up at work, and so Teresa has graciously stepped in, and she will run today's meeting. So,
great. Well, welcome everybody. This is always such an exciting meeting. We're going to hear some great stories. I'm very excited for today, and I know you are too. So we'll get into things. I first want to welcome some special guests. We have Secretary of Labor Jamie Link. We have Congressional Representative for Representative Brett Guthrie's office, Mark Lord. State representatives, we have Senator Mike Wilson, Representative Robert Duvall, Representative Kevin Jackson. We have some judge executives with us, Tim Fleener from Butler County. Doug Gorman, I think he's online. And then I don't see anybody else right now. Other elected officials we have are Logan County Jailer, Joshua Toomey, and Bowling Green Mayor Todd Alcott. Where's he?
he's online.
Online. Okay, good deal. Have I missed anybody? Any other special guests with us today here or online?
Everybody's special.
Everybody's special. So welcome everyone. Thank you all for taking time to come today. We also want to welcome our newly elected board members. We have Sam Ford with Innovation Fellow. He's Central Region Ecosystem for Arts, Technology, and Entrepreneurship, CREATE, right?
Yep.
Is Dr. Kim Myers here?
She's online.
Dr. Kim Myers is on. Hi, Kim. Dean of Workforce Solution for Sky CTC, and Paul Weary, Executive Vice President Scott Murphy. So welcome to those new board members. You're in for an exciting meeting today. As a housekeeping note, I would like to remind all board members that have Zoomed in remotely to keep your cameras turned on for the meeting. This allows us to see and confirm everyone when voting on a matter. So thank you for that. And then we'll start with some opening remarks from our president, John Sowards.
All right. Good morning again, and thank you for everybody being here. Thank you to our board of directors. Thank you to all the elected officials and all the other special guests that are visiting. What we've done for the last 6 years is we use our December board meeting, which is our final board meeting of the year, to really talk about what happened that year. And every year this thing kind of gets bigger and bigger. 3 years ago, we started to marry up not only this board meeting and the presentation, but we started to marry it up with a publication that we put together. What happens throughout the year is we collect lots and lots of data. I take pride, our organization takes pride. We collect a lot of data, way more data than what's required by WIOA, which is the Workforce Opportunity, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act that guides a lot of what we do. And so we gather all this data. We can use it to analyze how we're doing. We can measure ourselves, but it also, it keeps us on track and it gives us goals to pursue. And so you'll see in the publication lots of data. And the way this thing is morphed, we really try to, when we did this early on, it was a lot of data and a few stories. And now today it's going to be mostly stories, and most of your data is going to be found in the book. This data you see in the book, which kind of summarizes what we've done throughout the year, is only a fraction of the data we've got. If anybody at any time has any questions about who we are, what we do, wants to see the data, wants to see our books, come on, we're open. I mean, by law, we have to be. We comply with sunshine laws, and we are an open book. So what we'll do today, and the agenda is pretty simple. We've got a couple business items that we'll do up front, and then we'll get to the heart of what we're doing, which is telling stories. And you see back here on the back wall, our team of teams, staff from all of our various teams, because we're not just one single entity. Staff are going to come up and just illustrate a story. That they'll tell a story of one person, but that one person's representative of a lot of people they serve, and it's representative of what they do. So we'll get to that. We do have a few business items that we'll take care of up front. It shouldn't take more than about 15 minutes. When we're doing these business items, this is just a gentle reminder that our board of directors, online and in the room, you guys are the ones that will make the motions and vote. If you're not part of the board of directors, you don't have to make a motion or vote. You can, however, ask questions, make comments, participate any way you want. But when it comes to voting, we'll just take votes from our board of directors. Okay. So with that, we will get going.
Okay, our first order of business this morning is to approve the October 16th, 2025 board meeting minutes. Board members should have received, read, and reviewed those minutes already. Do I have any comments or questions regarding those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And Amy, thank you. A second? Thank you. Okay, so that motion, all in favor, say. Any opposed? Motion carries. We also want to update on the executive committee. They met on November 13th and covered quite a bit of material as indicated on the slide. Getting there. I'll quickly touch on those highlights. We began by reviewing the budget, where John updated on the approval process with our local elected officials, and there were several small budget revisions that were approved. We then reviewed the annual evaluation timeline for board staff. This was followed by a decision by the executive committee to allow up to 3.5% pay raises for board staff contingent on performance. Next, the executive committee reviewed and approved all meeting dates for calendar year 2026. These dates can be found on page 2 of today's agenda. John then provided the executive committee several administrative and operational updates. Several of these topics will be covered in today's meeting as well. Lastly, we discussed the need to recalibrate the composition of the South Central Kentucky Foundation Board of Directors. More on this topic are also in the next agenda items. Any questions about this November 13th executive committee meeting that we can answer?
Okay. All right. Moving on. Next, this is an action item, and I have to begin this one with a mea culpa. So we, as a workforce board, we've got our board, we've got our executive committee, and we, and our executive committee is made up of five members of our workforce board. And we've kind of been cruising along without 2 key positions, a treasurer and a secretary. And so just kind of a little background. In mid-November, I called Regina Jackson, our legal counsel, and I wanted to talk to her about what's the feasibility of our executive committee covering down on our foundation. So we have a board and we have a foundation. And so Regina went back and did some homework. And as it turns out, this kind of was supposed to be happening all along. If we can build a slide. So Regina looked at it. She went back and looked at our foundational documents, our bylaws, and it turns out there's 2 parts to this. So when we look at our bylaws, it does say we need a chair, a secretary, and a treasurer. We've always had a chair. In terms of treasurer, Rebecca Stone is really, without being elected into it, has kind of served as our treasurer. She chairs our audit and finance committee, but has never been formally voted into that manner. And then if you could go forward one, and we also looked at our bylaws for our foundation, and there in green, it basically says our chair, our treasurer, and our secretary from the workforce board must also serve on the foundation board. And so I let that one get away from me. I wasn't paying too close of attention to it. Now I'm trying to rectify that. So if we could go forward one. So I've talked to 2 of our executive committee members that I would like to bring to you today to be voted into these positions, if we could build one. So just as a one point, Rebecca Stone, who's been on our executive committee many years, she's getting ready to retire right after the new year. So she's not one of the nominees because she'll soon be leaving our board. But I've talked to Mr. Josh Anderson about being the secretary, and he is graciously agreed to serve in that capacity if voted in. Josh is our representative from Monroe County. He's the operations manager with Anderson Forestry Projects. He's been on our board for several years, and he joined our executive committee a little over a year ago, and he's been very active. And then next, Mr. John Eaton, Simpson County. He's the facility manager with A2A Integrated Pharmaceuticals. He's been on our board for close to 4 years now, soon. And he joined our executive committee a little over a year ago. And John brings great experience. At one point in time, he served as the board chair for Life Skills, and he has agreed to serve in the capacity of our treasurer. If you could build one. And so what I would ask the board of directors to consider is a motion to appoint Mr. Josh Anderson as secretary and John Eaton as treasurer.
Do we have someone that would like to make this recommendation? Motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, thank you, Sam. I think I saw Kendra. Kendra, do you want a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Very good, thank you. Okay, we will now go to Michelle Harris with National Label. National Label serves as our fiscal agent.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. This financial presentation is for the period ending September 30th. The fiscal year starts in July and ends in June. Our total budgeted annual revenues are $3,471,337. Year-to-date budget of $1,446,000, and actual revenues are $1,038,656, resulting in a year-to-date variance of 407. For the expenses, our total budget annualized expenses are $3,155,923. Our year-to-date actual expenses are $1,063,354. When we get to the bottom, our deficit of about $24,000 is mainly attributed to our foundation expenses, which we will see a pickup over the next 2 quarters. So we'll see that deficit shrink down. And are there any questions?
Okay, if there are no questions, do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve. It's Chad Spencer.
Thank you, Chad. Do I have a second? Second by
Drew
Justin.
Preston, I second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then next we've got an audit update from John, right?
Okay, yes, this is our last business item. So for the board, for everybody that was here at our October board meeting, we, at the October board meeting, our external audit was presented. And what I wanted to do today was just give you a quick update on progress we've made since then. So the main takeaway from our external audit was that we had a clean, unmodified opinion. I think that's 5 years in a row for us, which we're very proud of. But that said, we did, our auditors, Taylor Polson and Company, did have several recommendations for us to, to make improvements and improve our fiscal practices. And so you can see that list on the screen, and we've made good progress on most of these things. Anything you see there in a green block means that we have attacked that recommendation and we are on top of it. Anything in yellow are still things that we're working on. I'd say the first yellow and the bottom 2 yellows, those are somewhat large projects. One of the main issues that we had during this audit is, we've got a board and we've got a foundation. We've got a bank account where all our federal funds flow through, and then we've got a bank account where all of our non-federal funding flows through. And so over the last couple of years, we've kind of scaled up and grown very quickly, and we've gone from we've been in this growing pains of trying to transition from doing a lot of our bookkeeping and accounting via spreadsheets and transitioning into QuickBooks. And so Last year, we got one of our accounts on QuickBooks, and then this year, we're in the process right now of getting our second bank account on QuickBooks. And once we have them both on QuickBooks, it's going to really make the oversight and seeing the transactions move back and forth a lot easier than the more manual practice that we're trying to get away from. And so that has to, that touches on the first bullet and the bottom two bullet is just making improvements on how we're tracking everything. Again, our integrity is good, our audit was good, but we've got to mature, we've got to grow up, and we've got to get away from spreadsheet accounting to, using accounting tools and software that are relevant in 2025, 2026. So that's where we are. Okay, that's the update there for everybody. And now it's time for show and tell.
Like the curve.
Welcome, everybody, again. Good morning. We're so glad you guys are here. We don't want these stories to stay in this room. So we do have a discussion prompt thing that should be in your packet. That is yours. It's free. It's complimentary of your attendance here today, our year in review report. We're going to be telling some stories that add and complement to that. But we will have a pause here in a minute, but we're going to wham bam you for a while here with success. But this cover really kind of signifies, the strain, the stress, and the success that we had this year. When there's green lights, there's caution lights, and there's absolute red lights going on all at the same time. And so for our programs, for our participants, and the people that we're serving. So I do want to do just a quick overview of how that year in review is structured, as basically how we try to aim to empower job seekers and support employers and do a lot of partnerships. And so we're so proud of how we try to visualize our partnerships in the year in review graphic that we made our own poster for it. So it's another thing that you could fold up and take with you if you'd like. We tried to give credit. I'm sure we missed some people, but some of our most important partners are bolded on there, and many of you represent those or are those to us. And so we do want to highlight and bring attention to those. Another thing we wanted to bring attention to that's not necessarily reflected in the year in review is just our board member contribution. So there is the Kentucky Workforce Innovation Board that has committees. We have several board members that serve in various roles with that. We do have a statewide workforce and talent team called SWAT. It's a newer concept. We have some members that have been more involved than others. I know Dr. Myers has been involved since the inception of it. The rest, we hosted a meeting recently here in the past month, and that's reflecting the board members that were able to come to that. We did a new strategic plan this year, and we definitely asked for everybody's feedback. I think most everybody filled out a survey, but then we had these planning teams, and we had a very good representation from our board members and community members and partners in those planning teams back in the spring. We also wanted to give some credit where maybe your business or organization represents our outreach in the community, specifically through job fairs, hiring events, rapid response activities. We'll be talking about what those are if you don't already know too, but we've had quite a few businesses involved and partners involved when we do those events. And then of course we have the committees of the board, and these are just the quiet heroes, right? That you guys have extra meetings throughout the year for extra business that must be conducted. And so we want to just say thank you for your involvement, the reach, helping us, empowering us as we seek to empower job seekers, and just all the valuable roles and functions that all of you play. This is one of the proudest graphics that we can flash in front of you that we've been trying to do. This is the third year now to try to communicate visually our reach in the South Central region. And that's a higher number than it's ever been. So despite some challenges that we did have, we had things turned on in ways that helped us with our reach. So we did actually have more visitors come to the Career Center. So these numbers are a little bit more updated than what's even in the book, just since what's happened, because we have a printing deadline that we have to meet to print this book. But we wanted to show just where we are today. So, well over 18,500 people. And you can see how that's represented. I mean, the number represented in the Career Center, 8,200 there at the top. And then hiring events, some of those happen at the Career Center, 800. So about 9,000 people, came through, darkened the doors, as we could say, at the Bowling Green Career Center. But that number of 18,600 means about half the people we reached outside that building. And that's something that we definitely want to communicate every year, is people, the hardworking people sitting along the wall over there, and their outreach, and all the partners that we have allows us to get in front of a huge amount of people every year. And again, we're very, very proud of that.
I just want to jump in and say, I
Yeah.
especially like that 5,000 plus number for the youth.
That's thanks to the Kentucky General Assembly putting Young Kentuckians to Work program funding, which we have rebranded as Ready, Set, Hire. And yes, we are in, when we can count on half a hand, a few fingers, how many high schools we're not in. And so we're in all the rest of them. And maximizing the partnerships that we have to reach kids that are not in high school. Yeah. And then just employer engagement, a few updates on this too. So we've had some job fair activities since the report came out. So we've reached about 2,400 people coming to our events, about 8,000 that we can tally referrals, where we can say job seekers were face to face with an employer, 47 hiring events. And you can see the activity of the hiring events off to the side there of over 4,000 referrals just from those events. So a lot of those are a combination of ones we host and ones we jump in and get involved in with our partners, including schools. And now I'll turn it back to John.
Sure. I'm going to touch on two things here. So, you know, we named this year's book, Maximizing Labor Market Mixed Signals. So what I want to point out, this is something we've had a conversation with our board about all year, is if you measure the job postings in the 10-county region year to year, at the beginning of the year, there was a little over 7,000 job postings across our 10-county region. Today, it's a little over 4,000. That represents about a 40% decline in job postings in our region. And so that's, you know, that has impacts on us. I mean, it has impacts on our, in how we serve employers. You know, although the numbers Brian just showed you are very, very good, we're very, very proud of. I mean, we had to cancel a number of hiring events this year, but just due to lack of employer, you know, they weren't hiring and they didn't want to participate, which is okay. We were trying to plan them, trying to do them, but we just couldn't pull it off. There was a lack of, there just wasn't enough hiring to happen. In terms of the people we serve, you know, we serve all job seekers, but our federal funding really allows us to serve folks with barriers, and which you'll hear a lot about here shortly. When jobs are plentiful, it's a challenge getting somebody with a barrier to employment. When jobs are not plentiful, it's really a challenge. And so our staff has been very challenged for the folks that have the most barriers, that are hardest to serve, that need the most help, getting them employment has been extra challenging this year. So that's just where we are at this moment in time. We are very hopeful that after the new year, things will pick back up, and we'll be able to get better employment outcomes. So, okay, and then just one other thing, and I alluded to this a minute ago, because I was thinking, you know, I just wanted to convey what were our two principal challenges this year. One was the external challenge of a slowing job market, and the other was internally what I alluded to was us kind of going through this process of getting our accounting practices moved from a manual practice to a digital practice. It was, I just can't express how many hours and hours and hours and hours that Deronda and National Label have put in to make this transition. It's been a lot of work. Our accounting is very, very complicated. I think when the first year we had our external accountants, I think we've melted their brains, because, you know, the federal funding comes in, it's on a reimbursement basis, and there's a lot of bookkeeping and tracking from us back up to our fiscal agent to the state, wait on reimbursement. And then other sources of funding are coming in real time. And it's a lot to manage as money moves back and forth, and keeping all that bookkeeping straight. So anyway, it was a lot of growing pains as we went through that practice. And I don't know how Deronda is still sane. So, but she's one of our heroes, unsung heroes. Okay. We'll go to the next.
Before we jump into our speakers, I left off an important point I wanted to make, because you're going to hear Matt Bacon, the executive director of Career Team, our WEO direct service provider, come up here next, along with Jessica. Back on this graphic, I was talking about the Career Center and kind of the building visitor traffic. But if you look here at about a little over 200 WEO enrolled individuals that we served this year, And I'll go ahead and say you can throw in the Career Center hiring events and some of our other hiring events. I mean, if you add that number, it's about 2,000. You know, but the WIO enroll, that's our bread and butter of federal money that we steward. So really, that's all we have to do as a workforce organization. And you can see all the other reach that we have. That reach is because we get other moolah that empowers us to be able to go out and reach and connect and help people get hired. So again, the New Americans, we have city, county funding going Dutch to help support and empower that effort. Our Justice Involved is a very unique partnership we have with the Office of Adult Education and even the Education and Labor Cabinet as a whole. And then again, that youth funding. So I did want to draw attention to that because that adds thousands and thousands and thousands of other Southwest Kentuckians that we just cannot reach with just the WIOA funding alone. So I want to say thank you to those that represent organizations that help us help support us with that funding. Now we'll go to Matt and WIOA update here from this past year. Yeah.
Need to get one of the actions on like Paul. So yeah, talk about WIO here. So this slide summarizes our activities and impacts for the year. You can see Brian mentioned we served about 200, or we served 205 with funding, but that's just a fraction of what came into our building and actually talked to us to get services. Some of those people were able to help along to one of our partners where they can get help there and move on without us having to utilize any WIOA funding. So there's a lot of that goes on. Breaking it down, you can see we served 110 adult dislocated worker a year. We invested $351,000 into those folks, which comes out to about $3,200 a participant. And that's to get them trained. It's to get them with an employer. It's to get them outfitted for an employer, make sure they have all their tools and equipment to go to work. The next one, we served 95 with those two grants. The Quest and Severe Storms, we invested $176,000 into those folks, which come up to about $1,850 a participant to get them shaped up and ready for work. When you look at the employer engagement, now this does not include any of the employer engagements you're going to hear from Dick and Bianca. We served 26 employers with 41 participants, basically a savings to those employers of $82,000.
Yep, Matt, if I could, what that means is we subsidize internships for employers. So if somebody has got a poor work history, they qualify. We mitigate the risk to the employer. We will place them with the employer, but we pay their salary up to $3,000 to $5,000. It kind of, just depends on what kind of agreement we enter into with the employer. But we're subsidizing that to get the person experience while also mitigating any risk to the employer for taking somebody on that they might not normally take on.
Yeah, our hope there is just to get their foot in the door, show them that they're a good employee, and we hope for the end result is they go on to full time with that company. And Jake and Bianca do a good job of letting the company know that's kind of our expectations at the end, so that we can get those people moved to something full time. The real impact goes beyond these numbers, though. This year we helped high school graduates, college stopouts, college students, veterans, New Americans, workers who have been laid off from positions they've had for a long time, long-term unemployed folks, individuals experiencing homelessness, those currently incarcerated or formerly incarcerated who are on parole or probation, many who are in recovery. These individuals need guidance, support, accountability, and someone to help them along to shape their future. And that leads me to the heart of our success, which is our career navigator, career advisors, and our in-house quality assurance, just to make sure that everything is done accurately. Their work is both tireless and thankless a lot of the time. They're putting in a lot of effort and not
not getting much thanks a lot of the time. A lot of times it's participants view it as kind of an expectation. It's what they're owed. And that's not the case at all. These ladies put on a brave face and try to shift them back to reality where they can go out and workforce and not have those expectations. They provide intensive hands-on case management, meeting participants where they are, addressing barriers, coordinating transportation and childcare support, preparing resumes, coaching for interviews, connecting them with training programs, building relationships with employers who can offer a second chance or a first opportunity to those individuals. So they're going way far beyond what they're expected to do. And Brian mentioned it up here, just the 205. That's what we're required to do. They do a lot beyond that. And they manage complex caseloads while still serving each individual participant with great attention to detail. They have encouraged individuals who have lost confidence. And we all celebrate every breakthrough, no matter how small, for each of these participants. Their dedication is the engine behind every internship completed, every training credential earned, and every job secured. So these numbers with 205, more than $528,000 there. Dozens of employers engaged. They represent something much bigger. They represent lives changed, families stabilized, shared wins with our community partners, a stronger workforce for South Central Kentucky, and better neighbors for all of us. They represent hope, progress, and forward momentum for the people we serve and the communities we support. And that leads me to the fun part that Brian asked for. So this year,
The returns.
top 10 things only career advisors and our navigator and QA understand. Number 10. The art of scheduling appointments with people who have 3 phones, none of which have numbers at work and an ex-girlfriend's email address. Number 9. The adrenaline rush of finding a missing pay stub in a text message from 4 months ago at 4:59 on a Friday. Number 8, how to politely say, that's not a barrier, that's just poor life choices. 90% of case management is encouragement, detective work, paperwork, emotional support, and crisis control. Jessica's checking the other 10%. The pure joy of a participant showing up early. Number 5, balancing compassion and accountability like a Cirque du Soleil performer. I believe in you, but you also must attend the thing. Number 4, hearing I didn't get the email from someone who's definitely got your email. 3, the initial excitement and eventual letdown of when someone says, I brought all my documents. That translates to I have 2 forms of identification, both are expired, and no social security card. Number 2, that no matter what happens, participant emergencies, employer problems, skeleton crew of staff, broken printer, no internet, the great flood of the KCC of 2023, 2024, or 2025. Case notes still must be written. Yesterday, precisely, and in chronological order. And the number 1 thing only career advisors and our navigator and QA understand is the indescribable moment when a participant passes an exam, gets the job, the raise, the credential, the stability, and you realize you help change the trajectory of an entire life, a family, and community. And this is the reason we do what we do every year.
Man, now the rest of you gotta follow that.
But much shorter.
All right, just a quick overview of what quality assurances look like. This past year, we've stayed proactive and consistent with monitoring those workforce cases that Matt was talking about there. We're touching them at least 3 times. Want to make sure that, you know, we're looking at those and we're resolving them instead of waiting until the end of the program year to make sure that we are in compliance. We've continued to use the scoring system that we've used in the past. And it seems to, it seems to be working for us. As you see, there's a lot of elements that we look at. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that keeps us clean and in compliant with the state and federal government. So all that has come in to benefit us for the financial monitoring. You can go ahead to the next screen if you want to. We've had clean state programmatic audits for the program years, and they do quarterly audits too, and those have also been clean. With those checklists, the case managers have maintained an average of 94% throughout this year on their audits, which is greatly increased from even last year. So they're doing a really good job. And the big win, of course, is performance metrics for Department of Labor. We met or exceeded 13 out of 15 of those performance metrics for this past program year, PY24. So with that being said, we've had a really strong year, and I'm very proud of the progress that we owe case managers and all the career team has had through this past year, and we continue to make that same progress going into the next year.
Jessica's a hero too. There is a lot of compliance and a lot of oversight. If you watch the news, you would think that federal programs have no compliance or oversight. I can't speak for any other program, but in WIOA, it's all the time. We're always under a quarterly or annual, either from the state. Earlier this year, we had a USDOL audit that was clean. But in between all of that, I mean, Jessica is a hawk, and she is on top of everything. She looks over everything Career does on a daily basis. And anytime we detect, or anytime she detects that there might be an issue or a trend, that turns into a meeting and classes and course correcting, so that we are staying in compliance, both the regulatory compliance and the financial compliance component. Some of what she touches on is financial compliance as well. So, but she does an excellent job, excellent job, and we are in good standing with the state and the folks that do the state level monitoring of our activities.
And like John said, that's due to our compliance. It allows us to go into and apply for different grants and things like that. Because if we didn't have good results on our audit, that wouldn't be possible. So it starts here pretty much with getting all those other additional grants that we apply for and obtain.
And I'll add that scoring system is proprietary to South Central Kentucky Workforce Development Board. Jessica created it, and now she's replicating it because we're sharing some of her time with the Cumberland's Workforce Development Board. They're contracting with us to have her review a proportion of their files, and so she's taking those best practices to another workforce board.
Yeah.
It's helping. Yep. All right, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Who's going first? Or both of you, yeah.
Bianca's is a funny one, by the way. She'll call it. But yeah, we're here today. We just wanted to provide an update as a business service team about a couple of pertinent events that we did over the last year that would be pertinent to this group here. I wanted to start with the Fritz Winter shutdown that we have been dealing with over the last couple of months in Franklin, Kentucky. As many of you know, 230 workers were affected by that shutdown, and they'll be terminated on January 1st. So Bianca and I have been on site for the last couple of months, I would say, helping this company, helping these individuals try to do their best to transition to new careers, to new opportunities. So we just finished that up, and so we're going to provide an update to you guys on that. You all remember in the last board meeting, or if you weren't here for the last board meeting, Bianca and I were on site in October for 4 dates doing a partner event, basically helping these individuals connect to community resources outside of a job. And so we had all of the relevant partners there that we traditionally have. And I'll say kudos to this company because they made sure that all 230 workers came through that event and connected to community partners. And so in terms of anecdotes, it's hard with the sheer size of this scale to actually provide individual anecdotes all the time. But I will say, when people come through these partner events, most of the time the attitude is, I don't really want to do this, but I'll do it because I'm getting some time off to talk to these people. And so I'd rather do that than actually be working. That's kind of the attitude that we deal with. And it's, Bianca, she's kind of the sunshine person. She'll be like, oh, hey, are you coming on through? And they're like, yes. That's
pull their arms and they.
yeah, that's kind of the attitude. But when they finish and they actually talk to these folks and they realize, hey, I didn't know this community partner existed, but I need them in my life in order to actually enhance my career. That's sort of the stories that we deal with here. A lot of people connecting to long-term education or short-term education, which is exciting for us. So those are the real stories, and those are exciting for us. We did resume writing support over the course of 5 Wednesdays following the partner event. We were on site connecting with people to do resumes, either updating their resume or creating them a new one. If, by the way, you have an Indeed resume, that's not great. You need to come see me and Bianca. That was what we dealt with most of the time. They were like, oh, I got my resume on Indeed, and it's like the worst thing you've ever seen. And so please connect with us if that's the case for you all. But no, we were on site for 5 days. 34 employees participated in this. So we had those resumes ready to go for the job fair that we were going to do. And then finally on November 18th and 19th, you can see the picture over here. This was our job fair. 16 employers participated in that from our region. We had a few extra from outside of the region that the company connected with individually. But all 230 workers attended that one as well. And again, that company made sure those workers were there. This is obviously a very difficult thing for these people around the time of the holidays. But I will tell you, I connected with Brian Phillips yesterday from Fritz Winter. He's the HR manager. He told me that over half of them already have new job opportunities, mostly coming from the job fair that we did. There are a number of people. That's absolutely. There are a number of people who are going to take other opportunities in terms of education and things like that. So they're not looking for a job at the moment, but only about 30 people are still looking for a job. I connected with him yesterday, said, please give us those resumes. Let's make sure we have them so we can get other companies here that were not at the job fair. But again, this was an exciting thing for us. It's very difficult to be in this situation and help these people in this situation. But ultimately, it doesn't mean there aren't positive stories that can come from it. And it'll be better for our region because all of these quality workers who still need jobs and are still great workers are going to be still in our region, which is exciting for us. So that's all I have. If you have any questions about that, please come to Bianca and I.
Jake, let me make one comment. So some of these events you see listed were not during normal business hours because you're trying to catch people that might be coming off 3rd shift or 2nd shift. And so not only Jake and Bianca, but a lot of our partners were there at either 5 in the morning or after hours in the evening on some of these events, just to try to catch everybody and make sure that they got a service.
Yeah. We talk about SWAT, just the idea of like connecting community partners together and streamlining those services. For me and Bianca, every time we ask them to be there, they're there. And that is a kudos to everybody in our community who deeply cares about helping people. And again, it's just, you don't see that everywhere. So
Jake, partners are Goodwill.
Yeah, Goodwill, SkyCTC, adult education, vocational rehab, veteran services, WKU Trio. Who would I miss? Anybody? Sky, Community Action's another one. So all the relevant partners that can help people upskill and try to maintain a job in the future and help them. Those are the people that are there. So we love those organizations and we work so closely with those people. I almost say they're on speed dial for us. Every time we have an event, they're always there. So again, kudos to our community for that.
Okay, so of course, my name is Bianca. I just wanted to talk today, just like John had mentioned, we didn't get to have a lot of our multi-employer job fairs this year just because we couldn't really get employers to engage. But one of my favorite ones is to go on site and help people that we know are looking to fill those open positions. So Bluegrass Ingredients had reached out this year and they are actually in Glasgow and they were looking to fill a bunch of positions. So they had mentioned that they wanted to think about doing something on site, but they wasn't for sure how that would go. So Jake and I got with them and we met with them and we kind of talked about ways that we can be on site at their place to make it beneficial for the people. So we had 2 dates, I think we were there. But we had 50 people that came by through that job fair and 14 people were hired. So they filled all of their positions just within that job fair. So Jake and I, we go in that day, we do whatever they need us to do. We pre-screen, we ask the questions that they need so that the supervisors are actually able to sit down with the individuals and interview them and offer them a position on the spot. So those are always my favorite ones when we get to see the success like happen right then and there. So like I said, yeah, that was a quote from them. They were very excited. 60 people came through and 14 people were hired. So it was we're gonna come together too.
Okay, so of course, we are career advisors with career team. And we're gonna tell a little bit about some of our participants that we have and the success that they've accomplished as well. So my person is Delaney, and he went through the material handling course through Forklift University. Delaney is he was homeless. He went through the training program, looking for an opportunity to work in manufacturing as a forklift operator, and actually ended up obtaining employment with Forklift University. They saw how he was very helpful with the other participants who might needed help. He was willing to be a leader. I actually went to a lot of the trainings that they had, like when they went to Magna, I went there, I stayed half the day with them while they done their certification. So yeah, he actually ended up getting employment with them as a contracted. So he went from not making any money to making $25 an hour. So he is one of my success stories. And I mean, as career advisors, we have plenty of success stories. So it does, like getting to come and talk about one person when we have a million. It's really hard because it's like, how do you pick out the one person? Because we do have a lot. I do a lot with the work experience. And so, as the years go on and we progress through it, I would say this year is like one of the years where it's like, you have all the people who go through the training programs to like get employment and get the skills. This has probably been the one that like 98% of my people have already got employment. So it's whether they got the employment with the employer or they don't even complete all of their hours because they've already obtained employment. So it's like, we're really learning and getting it together for the people. All right, my person is Brent Mitchell. His story is he completed a 4-week CDL training at the beginning of this year. He got released from prison. He was in prison for 6 years. He decided that he wanted to change his life around and stay out the system, and he really didn't know how. So he heard about our program in prison. So he came to the Career Center and talked to us. He was eager. He got everything to us with no problem. He completed a 4-week training, and as soon as he got out, he started looking for employment. First employment he tried, he thought he was going to get it, but he didn't get it because of his appearance. He was let down a little bit. I encouraged him. He kept on going out and applying for jobs. And then he finally received a call back from BG Recycling. And he's been there for 2 months. He said he loves it. He's like, he's not going anywhere, and he appreciates our help and the patience and the encouragement. But Brent Mitchell.
That is Brittany.
Where do you want me to stand?
Yeah, right there's fine.
Okay.
Don't go up the roof.
I don't think I
Take
can
the
reach
ladder.
it. So, hi, everybody. My name is Brittany. I work with Reentry and Employment Services. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Carly. She's going to cover a lot of what I do. So I host pre-release classes every Friday in a local detention center. So I'm in a jail every Friday. Luckily, we walk out the door when we're through. But Carly was in Hart County Detention Center. When I went in there, most of my detention centers are pretty formal. You know, you get up and everybody speaks, but with Hart County, we kind of all sit around the table, much like Butler County, and I really like to focus on what they need. You know, what do you guys need while you're in here, so when you get released, you don't come back? Carly didn't have any form of identification, so while she was in there, I got her ID and her birth certificate. One of the first things we talk about is when you get out, you need a warm, safe place to lay your head. Otherwise, you're going to go right back to what you were doing. So luckily, her brother works for the Mark Center, and he'd been 3 years clean, and he allowed her to come stay with him as long as she stayed clean. Usually I don't suggest going back to the same people, places, and things, but in this instance, he actually lived directly across from the Mark Center, so I felt like maybe he was the right, good deal. So got her ID, got her birth certificate. The day she got out, she called me. We had a little jump and cheer because she was released. I told her immediately, go to Goodwill, get with them, get a career advisor. I like to send everybody to all of my partners. And she did. Then she came to see me. We worked on her resume and we started applying for jobs. She had the issue of transportation. She had to walk. So we only had a very limited area where we could get her a job. She got a job at Burger King. Very excited. She called me on like a Wednesday or Thursday and said, I can start on Saturday, but I don't have shoes and I don't have pants. And I said, oh, well, let's fix that. So I was able to get her a couple pair of pants and some non-slip shoes. Met her on Saturday morning at Casey's. She was very excited, went in, worked Saturday and Sunday. I was just hoping when I heard from her on Monday, everything was good, but it wasn't. That place was not good for her. It's not good for her recovery. So she needed something different. And instead of just staying there and being in the bad situation and doing what she could have done, she called me. So we were able to get her a different job. She had been working for a couple months at Taco Bell, which Taco Bell is a very great partner as hiring people that are in reentry with charges. Then her mother, who also is in recovery, gave her a car that she had kept for her because her mom had been in recovery with her brother for about 3 years. And her mom's like, I kept this car for you and I wanted, once you got sober, you to have it back. So Carly decided to start door dashing. And she was doing phenomenal, making a lot more money than she did at Taco Bell, did it on her own time. It was awesome. Then her aunt died. And it was a huge hit because her aunt was kind of like a second mom. So she called me and we kind of worked through that. And I helped her kind of along that. She is connected with resources as far as mental health. She's also in drug court. She's doing phenomenal. She's leading AA meetings. And she also got to see her kids again. So she kind of was looking at the positive of that. A couple of weeks later, her car broke down. So she can't DoorDash without a car, right? She spent her entire check, $600 on fixing the car. And the next day her tire blew. So, I mean, it's just like, it seems like a lot, right? This is like one of those stories where like that cannot happen. And it does happen to our people because a lot of times the cars that they have, the jobs that they have, they don't pay enough. The cars are running on, you know, living in a prayer here. So I sent her to Goodwill. Goodwill helped her fix her tire. And she was able to get back and she's doing phenomenal things after all that. And she spent the car, all the money on her car. She had to call me because she didn't have gas. So I helped her with a gas card. But she is doing great things. And she is one of my biggest success stories because she still talks to the other girls that are in the Hart County Detention Center. And she's got spaces for them when they get out. And she knows that they can help. And she'll call them and say, hey, Brittany's coming on Friday at 1, go to that class. So it's just kind of helping all of the things that, well, look, there's Amy. Look at her. Helping all those things that we can do. One thing about Butler County, this is our targeted orientation. Amy fills the house. We went on a snow day when the schools were closed. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a great time. I can get my work done. No, 22 people showed up and I didn't leave until 4 o'clock. So no work got done that day except for those people. I didn't get any of my back work done. But it's just really empowering because every day there's stories like this. And I know I call on Tony with Career Team way too much and she loves me so much. And I actually sent her somebody and I said, this is going to be your best friend because he calls constantly. And I know she loves him. But Yeah, so that's just kind of what we do. It's daily. Kind of like Jasmine and Monique said, there are so many success stories that we have. Carly just touched my heart and still does. And I'm so proud of her for doing what she does. Like,
Gail, Timmy, you want to come up here with me?
oh no, Timmy.
He gets things like that. He's big off the top.
So this is mostly going to be,
Oh, good.
this is mostly the jail, my good friend, Jailer Joshua Toomey from Logan County, but, I'll just tee it up real quick. In 2024, we applied for a grant through the state, and in that grant, we proposed a concept of putting together a boot camp, of what we would call a work-ready boot camp. And what ended up, and so we got the grant and then was like, oh, well, we got to get this thing figured out. And so we put together a 5-day boot camp that over the course of 5 days, we get individuals a general OSHA 10 certification. We get them first aid, CPR, defibrillator training. We put them through a financial literacy class, and we put them through a soft skills class. And the grant, some of the specifics from the grant was we wanted to serve the reentry population. That was one part of the grant. The other part of the grant was what we called rural youth. To go, to help, youth in some of our more rural counties get access to these short-term, low-cost credentials. And so very early on, one of the primary partners that we found was in Logan County, in the Logan County Detention Center. This gentleman was like, bring it, we want it. He's got the people and he's got the space, and we were able to go in there and do it. We've done, since 2024, we've done 6 of these just with Logan County. In this calendar year, we've done a total of 5. We've done 3 boot camps with Logan County Detention Center, 1 with Butler County Detention Center, thanks to Amy. And then we did 1, it was a combination of Job Corps students and Hart County High School seniors that we were able to do in the spring. But what I want to do is turn it over to Jailer Toomey, and he can talk about just his experience and what this has meant to his population.
Thank you for having me. Some of the young ladies give an example. I want y'all to be interactive with me, if you would. Let's do a little role play. If I walked in front of an employer and I'm kind of tattered, right? My clothes, my appearance is subpar. It's going to be just like these ladies talked about with that gentleman that didn't get the job, right? Initially. First impressions mean a lot. Okay. Obviously, that's a setback. That gentleman couldn't hold his head very high then, right? You all provide clothes to our people, our inmates and stuff that don't come from much. I try to have empathy and put myself in their shoes. I don't necessarily have to agree with why they're there, but I don't understand their full backstory either. There's a gentleman that's doing good now, but he come from his walk of life was there in Logan County of Russellville, where he was on drugs before he was 10 years old. That was normal in his childhood. Okay, his parents, they were shooting up heroin. His siblings were sold into sex trafficking for drugs by his parents. That's normal to him. He spent 40, 50 years in and out of jail, incarceration. He finally, he was saved in jail. He decided he's going to turn his life around, but with people and others that supported him, that offered him support. Leslie Burney is that gentleman's name. I seen him at Bible study this morning. H&H give him a job. They taught him how to weld. He announced this morning that he has celebrated the first time. He's 62 years old. First time in his life, 1 year sober. He had people that believed in him. He had people that supported him. He had people that give him a chance. That's what we're asking for. I promise you that some of these individuals, they'll surprise you at what they can do and what skill sets they have. Individuals that I've had assigned to maintenance and things at our facility, we put engine in county vehicles. We've fixed drywall. We've done flooring. We've done epoxy. We've done concrete, electrical, plumbing. Other judges can take the jail. Stuff breaks a lot. Plumbing, you got that many people, that many toilets, that many showers, that many sinks. Stuff breaks down. We fix stuff all the time. They're good at it. They really are. You'd be surprised at what they can do, but you name it as far as some type of maintenance, we've done it. But I start out a lot of our classes kind of like this. I will tell them, I'm not here to judge, okay? I'm not. I'm an imperfect person, just like the rest of the world. Romans 3:12 says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, right? None of us were perfect. There was one man that was perfect, but none of us in this room are. I read them this definition, legacy, and ask them to reflect. Legacy, one of the definitions, a lasting impact, values, wisdom, and character that you pass on, shaping the future of generations through your life story, actions and influence, essentially being your ambassador after you're gone. As we reflect, is everybody in this room proud of their legacy? Individuals that are housed in our facility, of course they're not, right? Everybody raises their hand and says, there's stuff I wish I could have changed. If you're willing to do the work, I tell them, we will help you do it. There's resources there. Your organization and people represented in this room, you offer that support. They can help you do it. They're there for our incarcerated individuals, not for themselves. Y'all do it because you want to make that change and help them succeed. Okay. So I can't thank you enough for what you offer. Through the forms of pre-release classes, Ms. Hippler that spoke previous, the work ready boot camps, Mr. Swords, I'm grateful for you all and what you have to offer. I was a police officer for almost 20 years in our sheriff's office before running for office. I had no idea the resources that were out there that I could have pointed people to and brought them a folder, brought them a pamphlet, brought them a business card until I heard the first one at Warren County, Ms. Hippler. I was amazed. I really didn't know those were out there, but I was uneducated. I wish I knew about it a long time ago, but now I do. And now we're sharing every other month. And I'm grateful to have it. The boot camps and things, I can't tell you how important that is to these men and women. They get to go through that and they can have the clothes that you provide, Mr. Bacon and others. Okay. They hold their head up, that confidence, that smile. It's amazing. The attitude and how it changes. Okay. But your organization provides hope through training, education, for our justice involved, and to keep striving to find the best version of themselves. But again, hope, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen, or a feeling of trust. That's what you give them, all of you all. I can't thank you enough. I ask you to please continue your work, and I would love to help you in any way possible that I can to help you grow and for us to do better. Because you can't put a price on the success that you're offering, and you're giving them a hand up, not a handout. But I thank you for your time.
Thank you, J-Lo. To me, I just want to acknowledge the training providers for this class. Sky CTC is a major partner and provides half of that training. We also partner with Aero Safety to provide the first aid CPR training. And on the financial literacy is actually taught by the Kentucky Financial Empowerment Commission. And that gentleman drives down from Northern Kentucky every time we do one of these classes. And what I will tell you, the instructors, they love this program because a lot of these folks, when they do instruction, if they get hired by a company to go in and do instruction, the employees don't necessarily want to be there. These folks fight to be there, and they are the best students, and they're engaged, and they're turned on, they're switched on. Amy, you can attest to that one, right? I mean, it is very participative, and that gives the instructors, they feel very warmly and strongly towards it as well. So it's really been positive. Okay, I'll stop there and we'll go to Miss Alexa.
I'm not going to talk about any of these people. But they're all great, and I like seeing these pictures. I am going to talk about this HR person and a little bit about what happened here. But also first, I want to just set the scene for you about how most of the people who I talk to every day come into my office. because I think it's important. So, imagine that you're flown across the world to a place where you don't know the language, you don't know the culture, you have no money, and whatever you can fit in your bag to get out as quickly as you can. All of your previous, this is important, all of your previous professional and educational experience doesn't matter anymore. You're a brand new person, who's just been dropped down somewhere else. So you don't know a single person either, but you're entrusted to this group of caseworkers who are in charge of making sure that your documents are good, making sure that you have a place to live. They pick the place that you live. They pick the clothes that you wear. They pick the food that you eat, right? Everything is brand new. And also they pick your job. I'm doing that every day, right? So, also, this is also important. The reason why you were forced to leave your home in the first place is usually because of extreme trauma that most of us in here wouldn't even be able to comprehend. I would imagine, like for me, it would be really hard to adjust to a new place like that, especially overnight. And I would hope, though, that somebody would give me a chance at a job, right? Because I deserve it, because everybody deserves it. I hope that we would all have that kind of kindness shown to us. But it is really difficult to find jobs for people still. Not to say that people aren't kind, but to say that the risks are high and a lot of people aren't willing to take the risk on people. Even though I would be completely, utterly lost if I was picked up and put down somewhere else in this world. Immediately, though, I need to start working because rent is due and I have mouths to feed, right? I think that the barriers that we have to finding people employment who are not yet speaking English, because that takes a while. I don't know how many people in here speak other languages, but I'm learning Spanish and it is really difficult. So there's an adjustment period that has to happen, and I think it's really important to be able to take chances on people, basically, in the end. There's unnecessary barriers as well. We have so many resources and so many services that y'all have already heard about to help people to get a job and also stay in the job. And when employers are willing to take the risk and let us do our job to help, it's really great for everybody involved, including this company here. This picture is of a hiring event, job fair, info session of sorts that ended up being so far in less than 6 weeks, 18 people of this group have been employed by this employer. And some of the things that we were able to do to make that happen are things that I wish that every employer would let me do for them. So I'm going to tell you a couple of them. So every single person in this room has either met with myself or Sakina. This is Sakina right here. She's amazing. She works at Goodwill Opportunity Center with Chad. Every single person meets with us. We have in-depth conversations, not just about your work history and your education history and making you a resume, but also, do you have childcare? Do you have kids? Do you have to pick up your kids from school? Okay, how long will it take you to get your kids from school and drive to Cromwell, Kentucky, or whatever, right? All of these very specific details that sometimes, people will overlook because they just want a job so bad because bills are due, right? Having that kind of conversation and knowing our clients really well means that everybody that I send to Cindy, I know they can get there. I know they're gonna do a good job. I know they want to be there. And they're pre-screened totally, right? She's talked about over and over again how that's so helpful. So, also, in the process, I talked about, how Sakina has been such a big help, but it's not just her. There's so many other service providers in Bowling Green who we're constantly reaching out to get extra support for people, because a holistic approach, whether it's childcare, whether it's making sure you have clothes for your interview, all of those things mean that somebody's gonna, not just get the job, but stay in the job longer. Like, somebody cares about me, right? I have not just myself to prove this to, that I can do this, but also Alexa. She's really nice. She got me this job. I don't want to let her down. I don't want anybody to feel that way, but that's how they feel sometimes. So, it's an extra push, I guess. Some other really important things is that we have an office where we can host things like this, right? So Cindy at QSI, they don't have a physical office space. She's traveling from factory to factory every day all over Kentucky. Their company is one that goes into factories to clean machinery, clean floors, not a typical janitor type deal, but just the factory floor type cleaning. So she's bouncing around. She doesn't have anywhere to host 30 people for a job fair, or 10 people for orientation, or, 6 people for an interview. So we're able to not just host that in our office, but also provide interpretation for people who are not yet speaking English fluently. Sometimes we've been asked to get 10 people together within a 48-hour period. That's not ideal, but we can do it, and we do it. And, I think that's also something that Cindy has talked about as being something that we're good at. I was going to give like a real quick example. So Cindy works with several different companies, right? They're all in different places. One in Cromwell, right? One in Auburn, one maybe close to here. All of these places have different shifts. Everybody in this room has different lives, right? Some have children, some don't have a car, some speak Arabic, some speak Swahili. Everybody is completely different. And as an example, so I had a large group of people who speak Swahili who wanted to work for QSI. I had to find a person who spoke both Swahili and English to act as an interpreter to work there with a group of people who speak only Swahili, who also had access to transportation to get there, who could work that specific shift, who could do the duties of this job, which isn't easy. So piecing together all of these things with Sakina's help, of course, is not easy at all. But those are the types of things that every day we're doing to make sure that not just the one person who speaks English more is the only person that gets the job, but also if we can be strategic about where we are placing people, we can get more people hired in the long run and immediately. And that's a type of mental gymnastic that drives me a little crazy sometimes, but it's worth it. I probably talked more than 5 minutes, and I'm sorry. But I guess long story short, I think I love to do my job. I love to be able to do it well, to do the things that we do well. I wish that more people would let me do it. And when I am able to, we can, you know, hire 18 people for one company in less than 6 weeks, which is good for everybody. So, thank you.
I'll add a point real quick. So Alexa started with us in April. I think it was like very early April. And we tracked a metric that we weren't tracking before, which was referrals to partners. And I just looked at the data, and year to date, there's been about 1,600 referrals to partners. So on average, with who she's seen, about everybody's been referred to at least 3 resources in the community. So in addition to referrals to employers and employment outcomes, we're tracking that we're connecting, like she said many times, to resources. So, all right, now I'll let Isa tell us the story through his program.
Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe my voice can catch. Yeah. Okay, so I'm Isa Vlonja Bawa, and I oversee the vocational training program at South Central. I work as refugee training coordinator. So I'll talk about this program and how far we've made some progress. You know, this program started last year, and we have people coming. I had more than 100 people coming and being interested to do short-term training, because we provide short-term training like CDL, CNA, welding, phlebotomy, and people are ready to come. Okay, I need to do this. But whenever we go into process, we find some barriers. And the first one is the language barrier. They don't know. They don't speak English, because this program works with refugee and immigrants who've been here less than 5 years, including myself. So we face this language barrier, we face financial barrier, we face transportation barrier. So whenever we have discussion about, are you able to take this? The first thing coming is, I have family to feed, I have kids to take care of. So I need to choose whether I go in training or taking care first of my kids. So no, it's a little bit hard to maintain people. But this year, we've made some progress, and I'm proud of myself and also everyone here. We have now 5 credentials. We have 2 CNA, we have 1 welding, we have 1 CDL, and we have 1 professional interpreting credential also. So these people show that if we have a community that supports people to have education and provide some support, good things happen, because they change life. They change the career pathway. You know, someone can come, like myself. I've been teaching back to my country, but whenever I came here, because I don't have like any language proficiency, I need to go in manufacturing, like Purdue, maybe Tyson. And these people are like, oh my gosh, I've been maybe nurse, I've been doctor, I've been maybe a teacher, but my country, but now I work at Purdue. This is not reflect what I need to do. But with this support, they are now on track. You have your CDL license, you can work flexible hours. You have your CNA, you can work like in healthcare. You have your welding license, certificate. You have your interpreting credential. You can get some like connection with hospitals, with schools, with codes, and you can get a lot of money doing that. So this program provides those. And furthermore, this year we have people also trained up, and thanks to John, we have this program like fast track forklift training, and we spread out the information. You know, this can provide you some skills in only 1 week. And we had almost 20 people coming to my office. I need to do this, but we say, okay, we split this into like weeks, and we can have 5 at the same time. Now we are on track, and we had 6 trainings. We can look on this photo. Yeah, So we have now six people that have been into this program, and they're now forklift drivers. So they can change the career that they need to do. They can perform now in manufacturing, in logistics. So this program provides these supports. And behind everyone, there is a story of lives. And I need to share like just a couple of this story. I don't know if to share, but on page 10 of the book, you have Patience. And Patience came from Namibia. She's Congolese, but she flew to Namibia, and she came from Namibia, came to here. And we worked together from ESL all the way into the trainings, CNA training. And you know, you don't know vocabulary, you don't know how to express yourself in English, you don't know how you can face someone, especially in healthcare system. But we work together. She went in the training, and now she gave his license, and she's working at Greenwood Rehab Center, like CNA. You know, that shows that if you provide support to these individuals, they can make great things happen. And thanks to you, Bowling Green, and all our 10 region counties, we support these people, and we provide a lot of things to them, and they can show that we can also change, because we also can give back to our communities. And these are our patients now. She's now treating patients at Greenwood Rehab, and everyone's like, okay, I need that. And the other story, this one is a little bit complicated because it's not about language barrier. It's not about finance, but it's about system. You know, we have Man, she's Burmese, and she came to my office. I need to do CNA training. I said, yeah, that's good, but let us try this at KTC. We applied, but you know, many people came, they don't have transcripts. We apply waves. Sometimes you get positive feedback, sometimes no. And she was enrolled, but we missed 12 by sport because, you know, CNA training here in Bowling Green, it's very quick. And they by time like March, and also they have other session in summer, like middle May and July. So we tried, but we didn't find the sports. And we say, yeah, that's good. And she said, okay, I can start like getting some classes at SCTC, like intro classes, English language, I don't know, other classes. And she feel overwhelmed because, you know, English language, you have these essays, reflective essay, argumentative essay, and she was okay. I don't understand this. This is behind my capacity. And she dropped out. And we tried to get into CNA training in summer. And the system was like, you need to go all the way for clearing house to have transcripts. And whenever they put her name, there is another man, the same name, who've been studying across, I think, 12 different locations, like college, university. And we said, this is not the man I know. Man I know, she came here last year. Ash can be like going into all these classes. By the way, 2012, and man came here in 2004. And you know, this process took almost 2 months. Admissions, or go to this university, asking for non-attendance letter, do this. But at the end, man was admitted to take CNA classes. And this month, 1 week ago, she passed a CNA exam, and now she is certified CNA. So, and you know, sometimes it's not only language barrier, but all the system that we face is a big challenge to us, like New American. So, but thanks to you, we have a lot of support and we have a lot of people coming and say, okay, try this way, try this way. And thanks to Brian, we tried a lot of ways. Yeah, try to advocate, try to see, okay, we can clean this because this code and this man is not matching. She came in last year and you said this one want to call it back to 2012. This doesn't make sense. And you know, behind these people lies some stories. And whenever you face someone like a new American, try to don't look at him, but look the background. He's from camp, he flew war, and sometimes he can have some mental issues. And he needs to try, and he needs your support. So thanks to South Central Workforce and these grants, we have now almost 9 credentials, and this is making us proud because we have new Americans that can work in manufacturing, in logistics, in healthcare, thanks to this opportunity. So, and this is not the end. I think this is just the beginning. Thank you.
Quick point. So Alexa is our new American Navigator, and that funding comes courtesy of the city of Bowling Green and Warren County Fiscal Court. And so we couldn't do that work without their support. And then ESA is his funding comes from the Kentucky Office of Refugee. We've got a grant that's been in place for a little over a year now. The grant runs through this September, but you know, ESA is focused on serving in his grant refugees, and refugees by definition are people that came here legally and they've been here less than 5. He can't serve anybody that's been here more than 5 years. And so they have legal work authorization and yeah, they have legal work authorization and they've been here less than 5. So it's a challenge to serve somebody that's been here less than 5 years because it's hard to gain English language proficiency that quickly. But we're really grateful to have that grant so that we can serve. We got a lot of refugees in Bowling Green, and it allows us to serve at least the portion of refugees that are here less than 5 years. So, and it's one of just zooming out. Yes, we have WIOA, but we've got a lot of other grants that we've gone over the last couple of years so we can expand services and serve more people and more populations, whether they're in jail, whether they're refugees, whether they're new Americans, or Shannon and Laura are going to come talk to you about the youth that they serve, courtesy of state appropriated funding.
Where's the pyro button?
Hello, I am Shannon Rocky. This is Laura Torres. And we work with the
are muted at the conference room.
The employer's pocket. So employers are kind of picking up on that. The other thing that it does, I usually will give them a little pep talk, give the youth a little pep talk where I tell them this bonus is not a bribe. This bonus is to encourage you to give yourself a chance to succeed on the job, because those first 90 days can be a little bit tough. And so during a little bit of my one-on-one work at one of the high schools recently, I was with a young lady who had enrolled, but she did not really yet have a resume, which she wanted, coming up to the end of the school year. She had found her first job though. So she was one of our employed youth, which, by the way, we have employed now 170 young people who were not previously employed. So I gave her the little talk about the incentive bonus. And during our conversation, she said, I am so glad that you told me that today, because I was ready to quit. I was seriously thinking about not going in this afternoon because I felt overwhelmed. And I feel like because I am the new kid on the block, I have to ask a lot of questions to my coworkers, and I feel like they're getting annoyed with me. So we were able to have that conversation. Number one, that's true for everybody. Everybody's got those growing pains. And number two, going into the future, you're going to know how to be a better employee because you can remember how you feel today and you can ensure that other employees don't feel the same way. So it was really gratifying for me to see not just the happy bonus faces, but to see that that bonus working its magic in real time.
I don't think I need this.
Well, outside the room, dude.
Okay, sorry, guys.
It's not amplifying your voice.
So I am the Employment Youth Navigator for the Ready Set Hire program, and I'm gonna make this short and sweet for you guys. So this year, Ready Set Hire has expanded our reach to 20 area high schools, alternative schools, and ATCs in our 10-county region. That reach represents more than just geography, though. It represents hundreds of young people who now see a pathway forward, many for the first time. So by being consistently present in classrooms, career fairs, and community events, we built real relationship with students, educators, and families. So Ready Set Hire is empowering those students to feel confident to start their first job, to create their first resume, and to go into that job interview with confidence, knowing that they are well prepared after they've talked to Shannon and myself. So thank you all for your support. I appreciate it.
A little fellow commentary. Anybody under 24 that comes to the Career Center, they immediately notify Shannon and Laura, right? So that whether it's Jasmine, Matt, Monique, anybody that Brittany encounters in jail that's getting ready to get released, if they're under 24, we identify that, and those folks get referred to Shannon and Laura. So it's not just high schools. When you look at, we have over 1,000 enrollments, or right at 1,000 enrollments. I think maybe 40% of those are people that have already graduated high school. They're in that after graduation between 24, which is a very elusive audience to find. But our whole team is working together to get them vectored to Shannon and Laura so that we can serve them, get them on our radar, and ultimately get them a job. Okay, so I'll talk about this real quick, and I'll ask Brian if you want to come on up. A couple of years ago, the city and the county gave us some funding, and we ran a bit of an experiment where we hired a person full-time to be down at Fort Campbell and to basically try to promote job opportunities in South Central Kentucky and get them to us. And I mean, it did not succeed, ultimately did not succeed. So we funded that for about 2 years, and the city and the county said, this isn't working as well as we want it to. And so that subsided. But prior to that, kind of us sunsetting that program, one of the things that we did is we applied to be a DoD skill bridge provider or Army career skills provider. If you're not familiar with that program, what the Department of Defense does is they allow service members in their last 180 days of service to be able to participate in either training or an internship. And it's not, everybody doesn't get to do it. They have to be approved by their chain of command to do it. But it took over a year for our application to process through. We ultimately got approved almost 2 years ago. And we really got the program kind of off the ground and running, I'd say probably mid-2024. And so the way this works is we've got advertising, and we've got programming down. We've got advertising that runs down there. And as service members go through and they learn about Army Career Skills Program, ours is one of the ones that's featured. There's a way for them to connect with us, either by email or by phone. And so once they reach out, I sit down, I talk to them, I set up an interview, I talk to them about who you are, who are you, what do you want to do, what's your timeline? And then from there, once I kind of figured that out, and if I figure out, so hey, somebody wants to do something in this case, IT, then I try to find an IT employer that I can talk to. Say, hey, I've got the service member. Here's a resume. They're interested in doing an IT internship. If an employer is interested, then I set up an interview between the two. And then after the interview, if everybody's happy, then things start to happen right out. An agreement gets put in place with the employer, and then the service member. The hardest part of this whole process, the service member has to go get their chain of command to sign off. So in this case, you see up here in 2025, we actually have 5 service members that have either completed or in internship through this program. Madison up here came over from Virginia. She did an internship with MedCenter Health with the physical therapy clinic. Jordan, top right, did an internship with Bowling Green Chamber in their marketing department. Angelica, she came through Port Sill, Oklahoma, stayed with a friend locally and did an internship with our office. And then Keegan, bottom right, it's actually Army captain. He's stationed in Louisville, and we were able to set up an IT internship with a company called Good Maps in Louisville. He's the only one that's outside of our region. And then Daniel, who we'll talk about today, came over from Fort Campbell. So Daniel, Staff Sergeant in the United States Army, been in for over 10 years. He was an 88 Mike. He was a transportation guy that had been going to college on his own time to learn IT. And that's what we talked about. And so Shannon, when I was looking for an employer to reach out to, Shannon said, talk to Brian. Called Brian. We talked. Brian said, yeah, I'm interested. And then I set up the interview, and then Brian, I'll turn it over to you. You can take it from there and talk about what happened from there.
Okay, great. So I'm Brian Young with Resolute Technology. My brother stepped out of the Marine Corps years ago, and he really had a hard time stepping back into the workforce. He'd been in the Marine Corps, and they just couldn't see an applicable skill set that he was bringing from the Marine Corps back to the world. So when I started this company, I said, hey, look, there has to be a place for these military guys. I only learned John even existed this year. I've been taking military interns and paying them for years. So like we had a military guy, Cole Blaine, this year. He went to work for Refuge Bowling Green, which is a nonprofit here in this building that came through our program this year. We've been doing these for years, and I'm really excited there's other people behind it. Interns are really important for us because they introduce them back into the community and the way things work. You were talking about how many job postings, et cetera, et cetera. We don't post jobs. IT is just not that way. Everybody wants what they want, and they make applications. So I texted my guy at the office and I said, how many applications did we average per month in 2024? We had 79 applications per month that come into IT requesting positions. So I said, well, great. I want to know 2025. I want to compare the two numbers because we were seeing a dramatic change, right? So 2025, we were seeing 81 applications. We've only increased by 2. So we've had 24 more applications in 2025. So we aren't seeing a huge deficit in positions the way that everyone else is. This group for me is fantastic. Daniel, he walked in and he said, I know everything because I just finished college. And then day 3, he was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? And so we went to fundamentals. We started on everything from wiring to building. And he was like, I don't want to leave. He goes, this has been great. I mean, you go and read his Google review. And I was like, thank God. It was strong. It was a real Google review that it changed the way that he perceived what was going on. So what you're doing, you're changing the trajectory of these interns, these people. It is fantastic. I've worked with Shannon for years. I taught for Sky. I worked in workforce development for Sky. I think she's still on there. But all of this change, the way, everyone is saying, well, I want to see where I fit in. I'm not going to last 90 days. We're seeing that in IT also. I mean, I literally interviewed a guy yesterday. It was his final interview. And I was telling some of you guys about that. I had a new hire packet that had his information. And he sat down and he goes, I quit my job yesterday. That was his opening remark. And I was like, okay, what happened? My schedule is just interfering too much with my gym time. It's a true statement. Happened yesterday. One of my other technicians peeks up over the because we've got cubicles in our offices, and he peeks up over the thing, and he's behind the guy, and he's like, and then he raised, those of you guys that watch Tim the Tool Man, I don't know how old half you are, but that was the idea. He peeked up and he's like, no. So I let the guy finish talking, thanked him for his time, and was like, "Kaboom." I get up, and Jason, my text, he goes, "Would you like me to shred that new hire paperwork?" I was like, "Yes, sir." So you guys prepping them and helping them understand, okay, he had a job that he'd been in for 2 years. I mean, we don't just give out interviews. His paper looked good. His resume looked good. He was a Sky graduate. Sorry, Sky. He was a graduate of theirs in May. And we were excited because we need the help, but we need the right help. And that's the key is you guys are positioning them into the right help. And I told Daniel, I was like, hey, are you going to stay local? Because I might have a position for you, which I would have, but he wasn't. So the right employers are looking for the right people, and you guys are forming them. You are helping them understand that you can't walk in and go, it's affecting my gym time. Well, it's affecting my gym time too. I worked 14 hours today to try to get this meeting and everything else. It's just part of it, right? I really appreciate the fact of what this team is doing to develop people for us to hire. And the applause is for you guys. It truly is. It's not us. It's fantastic. Daniel has been a blessing. True, straight up. As Robert, Dr. Duval, whoever you call him, whatever you call him, he knew that when I opened this company for churches. That was the point. We were going to do church IT. And we found out they didn't have any money. So we're like, okay. So it is what it is. However, we still say if you can't pay for it as a church, we still do it. Right? So we have 300. We have about 1,660 companies served worldwide between Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, all of that. And then we've got about 100 that we serve daily, weekly, monthly that are consistent. And so Daniel was a fantastic fit for our on-site team. We run multi-pod, very similar to Logan Aluminum. In my degree, we studied the management process, blah, blah, blah. So we built multi-pod levels. Each pod self-manages, and we handle lots of different things in the technology services world. So for us, your applause is definitely for this group, for what you're doing. Because I'll tell you, I've paid them all these years, and you bringing me a free one was like, what in the world? And he was great. He truly was. And I texted him a couple weeks ago and I said, hey, the Christmas party's on the 13th. Will it be you and a significant other? And he said, you make me cry. I'm going to be out of town. We'll see you next year. Okay. So thank you from the employer side. I'm Brian Young with Resolute Technology.
Feel like I owe you money, Brian. All right, let's wrap up.
Yeah, so thank you, Doranda. I had her turn the lights on so we could see each other again here, or maybe for the first time this morning. But we had these discussion prompts. Obviously, we just want to, popcorn it here, but what are you going to tell somebody you heard and saw today?
Well, I just want to say that I appreciate the work that this team is doing. We all know that workforce participation is a major issue in the state and the country, but what you guys are doing is really changing lives. And I loved one of the presenters when they were talking about that the lady had the situation come up and they were having problem after problem. And so, to have someone available to make that phone call to is so critical. And so, you're encouraging people, you're challenging people, you're being there for people. And so I really appreciate that. I will say a couple of comments about a bill that was proposed last session that we're going to hopefully bring back. It was Representative Mosier's bill about provisional licenses for medical professionals. And so we're trying to tear down barriers, trying to make that process easier to get folks that are coming into our country that are qualified, but they just simply have too many barriers in the way. And so we're seeing those issues time and time again. So just lots of great things going on, but just wanted to say I appreciate you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
You heard the good, bad, and ugly. What are you gonna remember?
I'll say a few words. Jeff Meisel, city manager for Bowling Green. Been working with these two guys and their teams for a while now. The city and county, we are 100% behind you guys. Try to help you out as much as we can. And I think one thing, if we could put this on the front page of the Daily News or a special on NKY or WBKO.
I think one thing that I would like to emphasize is how this is labor intensive. And we can't, we talked about this, John, Brian, we can't just go out and pull in hundreds of people at a time, and it's one life at a time. And it's a lot of time, a lot of effort by you all. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate that, the efforts that you all go to reach out and get people into our area and get them into jobs and get them connected. But because it's critical, we've got all these open jobs that we're trying to fill, more are coming. And we're, you know, as the old phrase, we're kind of chasing our tail in a way, but it's part of a growing community. It's some of our growing pains. And so I can't tell you all how much I appreciate everything you all do in tackling that, because you all are the only ones out there, you know, making the effort to do it. And so I just want to applaud you and tell you thank you and appreciate all that you all are doing. So great job.
Thank you.
Well, I want to echo, I'm Kevin Jackson, state representative, but I want to echo what my two good friends here have said before me. We need to hear this every day, every morning. I wish we could start the day off in Frankfort by hearing these kind of testimonies. We hear so much negative up there that it starts to wear on you day in and day out. And wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to start the day every day in Frankfort with 138 legislators hearing what you all are doing, the boots on the ground. I was a guidance counselor in high school for 19 years, and it makes me feel like I'm back in those positions because you're dealing with problems that I had to deal with a lot. And the Ready, Set, Hire program, I really like what you're doing there. But I want to, you talk about refugees. Our two school systems here are amazing. We have over 100 languages spoken in our two school systems in Bowling Green and Warren County. And they do a fantastic job of dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. I don't think there's very few, maybe a handful of school districts that have a percentage as high as Warren County and Bowling Green does of EL students. So I just want to mention them in front of you all. But as my two colleagues here have said, thank you for what you do. I know the wins that you get is when you see success with the people that you're working with. That's the reward. We all work for a paycheck, but that's the real reward that you get for doing what you do. But thanks, John and Brian and everybody in this room. Thanks for what you do. Keep up the good work. And I hope each and every one of you and your family have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Did I see your hand up?
No, you disappointed. I'm Jonah Johnson, adult education. What I'm going to tell people when I go out today, I'm going to tell all of my students, because we are going on institutional shutdown. If I have your phone number in this room, Brian, Bianca, Jake, Monique, Issa, I'm giving all of them y'all's numbers so they can call y'all for the next 2 weeks.
I'll say something. Paul Weir with Scott Murphy, and new to the board. Appreciate the nomination. Happy to serve. It's been a blessing for our business to be a part of what you guys have created and continue to support this. I did a little math earlier. I think 15% of my workforce in our self-performed concrete division has been a result of this establishment between the Ready Set Hire and the New American Workforce. So, that it's been a blessing to our business, and we're going to keep building upon it. But excited to be here, and thank you all for everything. So, thank you guys. Y'all do a wonderful job.
Anybody online?
All right.
Okay.
What's that?
Can I say something? I guess I need the microphone. Well, for all you decision makers here that vote on our funding, that vote on positions, I just want to say thank you. We have changed lives with youth, with adults, with Second Chance, but you've also changed my life, because I get to go out there and I get to be able to support these folks and help them out as well. And it has also given me purpose for my life, for my kids, and I thank you all very much. So thank you so much. Keep voting yes on funding for Ready, Set, Hire. Those folks that are as employers and HR, keep voting for internships, apprenticeships, folks that maybe don't have that much experience, because we need your support. If you all say no, then we are not able to have the successes that we have. So thank you again. We appreciate it. Feliz Navidad.
All right, let's wrap up. Things I'm looking at that we're looking at as an organization in 2020 in 2026. Number one, is our labor market going to rebound, or is hiring going to go back up? As I've been telling the board for a while now, WIOA was first as a law was passed 10 years or in 2014, over 10 years ago now, and it is due to be overhauled. And so we thought it was going to happen this year. It hasn't. So I mean, it should get reauthorized, and there'll be significant changes to what we do, and perhaps to our funding. Hopefully not a big reduction in funding, but that seems to be the mood of the Congress. As I've also been reporting, we are attempting to relocate our Kentucky Career Center operations to co-locate with the Goodwill Opportunity Center. And so I'm working with my good friend Katie and a Secretary of Labor, and we're working through this process. It is by no means a straightforward process. And then, I didn't know whether to keep this last bullet on here or not, but yeah, I mean, the work we're doing to Ready, Set, Hire and youth, obviously that comes through this, that was a 2-year appropriation from the state. And we're hopeful that we can get that appropriation again. We've got so much momentum with this program. We would love to keep that momentum going. But I do understand the state legislator has to make very, very difficult financial decisions. And so we're hoping we make that cut line this next year. Okay. And I think that is a wrap.
Okay. So if there's no, our next meeting is February 13th, looks like. If there's no other business, then I just want to thank everybody for your time today. Thank especially the team here for all the work that you do. We all play a part in this, whether we support, whether we approve something or generate funding, but just want to wish everybody a new year and look forward to all the good things we can do together in 2026. So thank you. Meeting is adjourned.